maybe I would have portrayed maybe, a month or two ago.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
All right. Anthony, we obviously have the Super Bowl coming up. It's a big game, and you're a Chiefs fan.
Hell yeah.
That's not why we had you on. We had you on because we want your insight and everything. But you just so happen to be a Chiefs fan. It looks like your girlfriend is a Chiefs fan too. I see
She's
you
an
guys.
Eagles fan.
Eagles fan. Okay, okay.
She's a Kelce
Yeah, there
fan.
we go. Get her on. Get her on here.
She'll be on the Bro podcast, the full podcast. She'll be on. We're gonna
All
do
right,
a show
all right,
on football
all right.
stuff. But, she's a big Eagles fan, Kelce fan, hates Taylor Swift, but she's rooting for the Chiefs. So.
Well, that's good. That's a keeper right there, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I told Austin I went on a date a few weeks ago, and she told me she was a Swiftie. So I was like, oh man, that's not a good sign. But no offense, I'm sure you're not all the same. But all you Swifties out there,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is from Pennsylvania, so I do like Taylor Swift, but I'm not like this whole uproar about her is overblown. But
yeah, she's just an artist. She's good.
Minor question on the girlfriend. Maybe we have to have her on and that she can answer for herself.
Yeah.
Does she not like Taylor Swift because of she doesn't like her music, or she doesn't like Taylor Swift because she betrayed the Eagles?
No. So this was well prior to the Eagle Kelce thing. She's just, I think she's not a big fan of her music. It's more poppy than this country. Honestly, country girl. Like
that's fair.
Kind of true Dirk Bentley, Tim McGraw, real country music. So Taylor Swift's a little on the poppy side. It's part of it.
Yep.
And she goes through like 8 boyfriends a year. So all she does is kind of cry about it for the most part. So it's more the music stuff. But now she definitely doesn't like her that she's switched teams. So
yeah, that was brutal. But I can understand and the whole like kind of Eagles fan, but you still kind of like you don't want to root against the Chiefs because the Kelce brothers and like Andy Reid's there, and obviously longtime Eagle head coach. I was very happy to see him get a Super Bowl. I think he's a phenomenal coach, definitely deserving of a Super Bowl. And they're gonna have another opportunity.
Yeah. The Chiefs and Eagles like rivalry is not really a rivalry; it's more of a fun rivalry, especially because of the Kelce brothers. But the teams kind of get along. Most Eagles fans respect Andy Reid and what he's doing in Kansas City. The more the Kansas City franchise kind of dominates, maybe not so much, but initially, it was always kind of a fun team to root for. So
yeah. So I understand where she's coming from for sure, but Anthony, Chiefs Niners. It's technically a home game for the Chiefs. They're the home team. They'll be wearing the red jerseys. I kind of see them as the new Patriots in the sense that everyone hates them, everyone wants to beat them. Now, I'll take the Chiefs over the Patriots any day because I don't think they're cheating.
That's true.
And you got to respect Mahomes, man. He is an incredible talent, and he was taken behind Trubisky and a number of other guys in the draft. Now, I think he fits well with Andy Reid. I think that's another huge factor. But they got Travis Kelce, phenomenal talent. I mean, just first ballot Hall of Famer. Their defense is good, but this is a good defense. But on paper and everything, they're not, especially compared to the 49ers, in my opinion.
Which team? The Chiefs?
Yes, the defense.
Chiefs are the number 2 defense in the country, pre-playoffs.
So are the Niners number 1?
No, I believe Ravens. It's either Ravens. It's like Ravens, Chiefs, and Browns are top 3, and the Niners are number 4 or something. So the thing is, they let up a lot of yards. So they're like number 10 and 11 in rushing receiving yards. Yeah. They've let up the second lowest amount of points per game at 13.4 or something. And the Ravens are 13.1. So they don't let you score on them, but they'll let you pass and run on them. But when you get in the red zone, it's a no-go.
Yeah, so I'll just let you give your thoughts, man. I appreciate those stats. So for me, I'll just say for me on paper, I think the Niners, besides Brock Purdy, I think they have the upper hand here. I think the Chiefs are going to have a hard time against the Niners defense because good Lord, that defense is just...
Yeah.
The Niners defense is really good, but...
Oh, yeah.
you give me your thoughts overall on the game.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. So there's a lot of, intricacies with it. But, basically, I'm going to root for the Chiefs regardless. Halfway through the season, didn't have a lot of faith in the Chiefs. Wide receiver issues. Defense looked good, but again, you're just letting up a bunch of yards. So eventually, big teams are going to score on you. Um, I think it's going to be a close game. Obviously, both defenses are stout. The Niners, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, all these guys are absolute beasts on the 49ers defensive side. So it's not going to be an easy game. It's not going to be a high scoring game. It's not going to be 40 points. It's not going to be, a classic Chiefs Bills type of game. Maybe a couple of touchdowns are scored at most. I think Mahomes and the receiving core that he does have, as long as Kadarius Toney doesn't play, I think we'll be good. Rashee Rice, the rookie receiver, is a beast this year. I think he's had 8 or 9 touchdowns. Kelce's obviously an animal, and in the playoffs, he's averaging like almost 100 yards a game. So, if they just get him the ball on offense, Kelce's going to be the big guy. Get Rashee Rice open, get Valdes-Scantling open. Some of these other, these running backs out of the backfield. I think they'll be able to get the ball downfield and get some points scored. And then on the Niners side, I mean, I like Brock Purdy. I liked him last year. I liked him this year. I actually picked the Niners in the Chiefs Super Bowl before the season started, but I didn't have FreeDog Sports up and running. My girlfriend, we wanted an Eagles Chiefs rematch Super Bowl. First time ever in history. I think it would be cool, but as soon as the Eagles season started, it didn't really work out that way. So, nonetheless, I think Brock Purdy's good. I think he's a little more than a game manager, is what they like to call him. And so I think he'll have a pretty good game. I don't think he's going to score a bunch of touchdowns. I think it's going to come down to CMC. I don't think Trent McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed are going to let him score, maybe a touchdown if they get lucky on the receiving side. But I think it's going to be a run heavy game, a lot of rushing yards, CMC, Pacheco. That's the kind of way. That's the way I see the game kind of going. It's going to be a classic football game.
I agree with you. I hope they're scoring, but I don't know if there will be. You're right. I might. We'll talk our bets here shortly, but
yeah.
When it comes to the game, I think it's going to be McCaffrey that scores. I think Kelce will score. And then you throw in like an Ayuk or Debo or Rice on the Chiefs. I think we're going to have, I don't know, I think we're going to have like 3 to 4 touchdowns collectively, but it's going to be close. I completely agree with that. I think at the end of the day, man, it's really going to come down to like who kind of comes out at the end. Who kind of squeezes it out there at the end. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Who's kind of going to get the final punch. Just like last year, I had a four leg parlay. I had A.J. Brown scoring, Kelce scoring. I had the Chiefs -1.5 in the over. And they all barely hit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I won a lot of money.
Good.
It was like plus 1,100 on that bet. So I think it's going to be close. My prediction is that the Niners, I think, are going to win. That's my prediction. But for your sake, I hope the Chiefs win. We've got we've got a dynasty here before our eyes, and I wish them the best because they deserve it. And as much as people hate on them, I mean they're good. They're Alabama football. They're the Alabama football of the NFL. They're the previous Patriots dynasty. They're the Yankees. They're good. So we'll get our score predictions at the end. Anthony, Austin, do you want to give your thoughts on the Super Bowl? I mean, neither of us have any skin in it, really. So.
Yeah, like I said, I believe last week, I mentioned. I think probably on paper, you kind of look and maybe give the Niners the edge when you look at the weaponry and CMC. You look at the defense. You look in totality, that kind of thing. But it's also clear that the Kansas City Chiefs have the better quarterback by trying to be charitable. I don't want to say by far, but better arm talent, better success rate in the NFL, more dynamic playmaker, can make more of the throws. It's just that simple. And I've a ton of respect for Brock Purdy, but he's not that. Very few have ever been that. So, that's always where I kind of tend to lean is with who has the best quarterback. You look at kind of everything else is kind of close. Like defensively, the Chiefs are pretty good. They're pretty good at locking up in the red zone, forcing field goals and things. I think probably Niners, you would kind of expect them to be pretty aggressive if you can stop them on fourth down if they go for it a couple of times, and stuff those opportunities. And maybe if you can sneak in there and get a turnover or two, either way, I think will make a huge difference. Just getting extra possessions, and putting the opposing defense on the field for more minutes, I think will pay dividends. But, I am kind of leaning Chiefs in totality. As far as bets, I would probably, man, I don't know, man. I might take Kelce as the first touchdown scorer. He always seems to be hot right out of the gate. Always. So if I was betting, maybe I take that. I definitely think he scores. CMC is a good bet too. Probably, an anytime TD score.
Yeah,
like
it's like
he'll probably get one. Probably get one somewhere along the lines. There's a million ways you can use him. What's what makes him so dangerous. But a lot of playmakers, Deebo Samuel as well. Like they got some guys. They definitely got some dudes that can play. But so do the Kansas City Chiefs. As far as coaching, hard to not give Andy Reid the nod. He's done it before. He's won the Super Bowl. He had a lot of successful seasons, long time with the Eagles as well. Offensive weaponry kind of has been clicking a little bit more, especially the wide receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs as of late. Really, especially kind of since the playoffs started. I think overall, once the playoffs kicked in, you kind of started seeing everybody kind of gel even better, which is really nice. That's exactly what you want going into the postseason. So a lot of things to consider here, but overall, I think it'll be a tight game, just like you guys said. I think it probably comes down to last possession, or if it doesn't, some team got extra possessions somehow, some way. They just did, and they were able to establish some kind of lead that way. I don't really see it being a crazy shootout. I think points will be hard to come by. Who can make the critical 3 or 4 plays in this game? Who can get some big chunk plays? Who can take advantage of a busted coverage or something along those lines? That's going to be important. We saw in the college football ranks, we saw Washington have opportunities against Michigan, and they just couldn't do it. Missed passes on wide open receivers, all this kind of stuff. NFL, we hold to a higher standard. Pat Mahomes probably not going to miss wide open guys. Neither really is Brock Purdy. So, how will all that kind of shake out remains to be seen. But I think overall, probably going to be a pretty tight game. Good Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would agree. I was going to say, as far as some of the receivers on kind of both sides, I should say, are going to go off. Like, I think Ayuk has a big game. I think Deebo Samuel was a great wide receiver. I think he just gets locked up a little bit, maybe double teamed a couple times, and that kind of opens up Ayuk. And Ayuk's been a stellar guy for them all year. I think he has a big game. That's one of my bets. But
Ayuk.
Yeah, I think Ayuk just has a big game. I think Kittle's always good in the red zone. He doesn't, this year he's been kind of off. He hasn't had any super major games. I think he had like one big game where he had like 3 touchdowns, but for the most part, he's averaging like 30, 40 yards a game. And so I don't think he's going to be as effective until they get into the red zone. But I think Ayuk, they always bomb the ball, a couple of deep passes. Ayuk, Debo, one of those guys. But I think Ayuk should have a big game. So Kelce and Ayuk are kind of my two, one on each team that are going to go for, maybe 80, 90, 100 yards each.
All right, Anthony. So I'm gonna give my bet here, and this is kind of like my safer bet, if you will. And after talking to you guys, um, so I think you can parlay it. Yes. So I'll just give like a 4 leg parlay. Parlays are always risky, but if I put in mine,
I only do parlays.
okay, good. That's good, man. So Christian McCaffrey, anytime scorer, you could probably even take him first time or first touchdown scorer, depending on if they get the ball first. Ayuk touchdown scorer. You can even throw Kelce in there. Because I think you just never know with him, man. You never know. It's not that he does badly, but I think you have to cover him. Sometimes I think they're triple teaming him and that's why he doesn't score. I mean, he can only do so much. He's a freaking human being. San Francisco money line, and then the over of 47.5. If you put that's plus 640. So if you put like $10 down, that's 64. If you put $100 down, that's 640. I think that's a fairly safe bet. So Anthony, do you have a solidified parlay that you're going to put in?
Yeah. So I've already made my bets. I made 5 bets, I believe. I always do. So I have a couple. I use different platforms, but I always have a couple. Like I like high odds. I like a little bit of money invested, high odds. Maybe it doesn't return, but every once in a while you get a big one. So I have a couple bets. There's one on DraftKings. I have it's four parlay. It's Mahomes TD, so a rushing TD of some sort.
Okay.
Kelce TD anytime. Chiefs score over 21 points. So 3 touchdowns, and Kansas City wins. That's a plus 1,400 that DraftKings has that they've promoted, and there's a lot of people betting on it. I saw that and I was like, I think I put $5-10 on it. Mahomes TD is going to be the tough one, in my opinion, because he hasn't really had many rushing touchdowns this year. I think he might have had 3, but Super Bowl is always a little bit different. Game strategy changes a little bit, kind of unique plays. And speaking of that, I have another one. Any quarterback to get a reception. So we saw Lamar Jackson throw the ball, get deflected. He caught his own ball. I don't know if it'll be like that, but maybe they throw Mahomes out in the screen and they run some, Philly special something or other.
The Kansas, have you guys ever seen the movie Lucky Number 11?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe they're gonna run a Kansas City shuffle.
Yeah.
That's what they'll have to call it, the Kansas City shuffle to Mahomes.
Yep. So, I mean, that's a random bet. I think I put like $1 on that, but that's plus 3,000 odds. So you're talking about $30 return on a, BS dollar bet. So I do have Kelce to score a first TD on its own bet. That's 1,250 plus, or plus 1,250 on the bet. And then I have 2 big parlays. So I have a plus 10,000, I believe, 10 leg parlay. McCaffrey anytime, Pacheco anytime, Rashee Rice anytime, and Ayuk anytime touchdown. Purdy to throw at least 2 TDs. Mahomes under 330 passing yards. And Purdy under 274 passing yards. But I think will happen anyways. He's only averaging like 243 yards all postseason against not even the best defenses. Pacheco over 50 yards rushing should happen. Ayuk over 50 yards receiving. He only needs like 2 passes to get that. And then Mahomes 20 yards rushing. So all possible stuff. The 4, those 4 touchdowns are going to be like the 4 probably. And so, to get that lucky is going to be insane, but plus 10,000 odds. So we'll see what comes of that. And then I did make a parlay. If it becomes a high scoring game, we're all talking low scores, big defenses. Some of these teams have only put up, 17, 20 points all postseason. So if there's some chance, like last year was 38-35 with the Eagles, some crazy high scoring game where they're just passing and running all over the place. I did put a 12 leg parlay on. Pacheco over 66 yards, Kelce over 71 receiving yards, Mahomes over 260 yards, Pacheco score, Kelce score, Debo score. I put in like Clyde Hillar, the backup running back, over 7 yards, Purdy over 2 TDs again, Debo over 58 yards, Mahomes 2 TDs, and the Kansas City has to win, but the Niners have a plus 7.5. So 2 separate bets in the same parlay.
Okay.
That's plus 18,000. That probably is not going to hit, but I think I put $10 on it and I win like $1,200 or something.
Do those
$7,000
ever
or something
hit?
on it. I mean, not usually this big, but that's a lot of stuff to go on. I basically have to know the NFL script to know what's going to happen to win this. But it's a small investment, and it's kind of like I made this bet as an alternative to what I think is going to happen in the game. Whereas if it is a high scoring game, there's a lot of yards going downfield. Some of these should come true. So.
Okay. Do you ever use Prize Picks? I've actually thought about using it for the Super Bowl.
What is it? Prospects?
Prize Picks.
Oh, Prize Picks?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. You just pick like player props, basically. It seems. Nelk Boys have had it on their show. Christian Hackenberg advertises it. It actually looks pretty nice. So for what you're doing, you might want to look into that. And if you just start doing it, I think there's a plethora of like codes that you can use. You probably use Hackenberg's, or you could use the Nelk Boys one.
Okay. Yeah, no, I haven't heard of that. I just started doing parlays this year. I really was never into sports betting, sports gambling. I don't have control over it. I'm just a random guy. I don't go to the games, So I always stay away from it. But this year, I've delved into it a little bit. I pretty much only do parlays. A couple bucks, try to get a big win here and there. I've had a couple small ones, nothing too insane. But I've also lost a lot this year. So I probably a couple hundred lost and maybe won a couple hundred. So I'm probably relatively close to evening out. But as I get better at parlays and figuring out game plans and kind of what's going to happen and seeing what I think is going to happen in the game versus what does happen, tracking all that, I should start narrowing down, kind of getting a better idea what to put in the parlays. The TD scores are always kind of ruined me. Because I'm like, of course McCaffrey and Pacheco will score. Of course, Kelce's going to score. But you get to the Super Bowl and Noah Gray's scoring 3 touchdowns. Or the Lions and Lions versus Niners. Yeah, Lions versus Niners. Their backup running back got 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like those aren't big easy. You think it's going to happen, but then that stuff happens. So we'll see. I do want to say, so for people that are listening, I believe it's MGM or Caesars. One of them has you can bet for free. It's a free bet.
Okay.
It's basically a huge parlay, and the winner gets like $58,000. But you got to pick like, touchdown scores and who's going to win. It's like a 10 or 11 or 12 parlay, but it's free to bet. And I guess the winner, whoever gets the most win or whatever, is it's $58,000. So go on and check that out. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Anthony. Austin. So last year for Penn State, I'll say I went 23-3 in betting for Penn State. With the parlays like 22-4, because like 2 bets was a parlay. I pretty much went 2 leg parlay on every single game. So 23-3 last year. This year, I think we just honestly, we just stopped betting this year because we just didn't know what was going to happen. And the 2 of the games that I lost, one was for Michigan last year because I thought we would do better, and then the other one was I thought we'd suck against Ohio State. We actually did better. So those are the 2 that I lost. But my cousin asked me if we're betting on the kick. I'm not sure what that one is. There's a lot of bets. You can bet on Pat Mahomes' dad showing up sober, Taylor Swift.
How many times he'll be on screen or some shit?
Taylor Swift. What was the other one? Taylor Swift making it to the game. Travis Kelce putting up the heart symbol. I don't know what the bet one is. He'll have to.
Yeah, I did see one. I think it was like
you can bet
Bravado
on the coin toss.
I think Bravado put out a post that aliens will invade the Super Bowl and it will end up as a tie, and it's like plus $1 million. I mean, it's not gonna happen, but somebody will put money on that shit.
I saw the 10 million. Oh, the 10 million Gronk. He's talking about the Gronk kick. Does he make it? They still put that money in FanDuel last year, even though he kick of destiny, yeah, even though he missed it. But Jared, we'll get to your comment here. Yeah, but one of them was Taylor Swift gets engaged to after the game, or they endorse Biden after the game, or something like that.
Oh Jesus.
And we talk about all of her songs about picking bad men. Well, she endorsed Biden, so there's another one. Hopefully Kelce's not. Not another guy.
No, I don't think Kelce gives a crap. I think he's a middle ground guy.
Yeah.
I think they say that stuff to get publicity, but I don't think if you really had a conversation with them behind the scenes, Jason, Travis,
they're pretty
normal.
They
don't give a shit.
Yeah,
they don't give a shit about any of that stuff.
So we will address Jared's comments here, but I want to get into Pat Mahomes' dad, obviously having some issues here, and you hate to see it going into the Super Bowl, because it's a distraction. It really is. I got it pulled up on the screen here. I've heard that he got bail. He's gonna be able to go to the game, but he's facing up to 10 years in prison. I'm gonna pull up this one meme that I sent Austin. It says Patrick Mahomes Sr. after spending a whole season in the suite with Jackson Mahomes, Brittany Mahomes, and Taylor Swift, and it's Denzel Washington in that movie Airplane drinking in his car.
Oh jeez, that's funny. There's some funny memes about it. I mean, it sucks. I mean, hate to hear about it, but
yeah,
it's. I don't know the details of it. Is this guy, he blacked out, driving fast down the highway, hitting stuff, or is he just, leaving the bar after having a couple of drinks and, doesn't have his turn signal on? I don't know the details. So
his tags.
I don't
expired.
think
that's why he got pulled over.
Oh, so I mean, stupid, yeah, distraction, yeah. I don't think it's that big of a deal. The idea of 10 years is not going to happen, in my opinion. I just don't think. That, if anything, it'll be a fine, slap on the wrist. Maybe he does some whatever AA or whatever the hell it's called. But
yeah,
unless the guy's like really jacked up and DUI, it's a slap on the wrist. In my opinion,
there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that are on like their 10,000th DUI. They just haven't gotten caught.
Yeah, exactly. So
I feel bad for the guy. I don't want him to. Yeah, I mean, the guy has an issue, clearly, it seems. Maybe not. Maybe he just
likes alcohol.
Drink and drive.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. But if he has a problem, I hope he gets the help. I guess it was his third DUI, so I think...
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
See, that's a problem because, drinking and driving is a serious thing. You can kill someone. You can hurt someone.
Yeah,
but his third DUI, that's why he's facing possible prison time.
Okay, so that makes sense.
But I hope if it's the case, like I hope he gets help if he needs it, because that's one thing that when it comes to drugs, that's a very serious, debilitating disease to have, is addiction, if that's what it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to get some help, and just try not to judge the person, but if he's putting other people in harm's way, then I think he should face some sort of penalty. But it is a story, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a story distraction, and they always happen during the Super Bowl somehow. Somehow stuff populates up and stuff happens. It's unfortunate. I didn't know it was his third DUI, so maybe put him in some small probation stuff. Whatever the triple, the double A, or whatever it's called, Alcoholics Anonymous meetings.
AA.
Maybe that'll probably end up coming, and it sounds like he might need it. It sounds like he needs to, maybe take some of his son's money and build a bar in his own house, and he doesn't have to drive anywhere. That'd be my solution.
Seriously. And expired tags, I mean, that's like what, $40? Shit. I gotta renew mine soon, and it's like, dude, use some of your son's money to buy some tags. I mean, that's pretty simple.
I mean, he's a famous athlete. I'm sure he has something in the bank. So that's one of those just like you just let it slide.
Yeah.
Issues.
All right. Next topic, Anthony. We've got. Is there a script in football? So I'm gonna ask both of you guys this one. it's definitely a hot topic right now. If you follow Larry Johnson, who we talked about earlier, he's a big you'll say conspiracy guy. Huh?
Yeah, it's the reason I'm a Chiefs fan. It's the reason I'm a Chiefs fan. Larry Johnson got drafted in 03.
Man, hell of a running back from State College. Is there a script in football, Austin? Is there a script in football?
I'll say yes,
NFL,
but not the kind that a lot of people want there to be. I'm gonna say there's a script in the sense that the NFL will watch what's just unfolding in real time and then hype up and exacerbate that storyline. Kind of like what we saw this year with Taylor Swift and Kelce. So if they think something is going to be productive, and by productive, I mean lucrative, making money, good for marketing, good for engagement, all those types of things, they will play into this whole scripted thing. They will bias their attention into this one area, and it seems like things just kind of play out that way. Do I think there's a script in the sense that like all the games are already decided and all this kind of stuff? No, people talk about well, it seems like it's rigged sometimes at the end of the game with the officials making horrible calls and this and that and whatever. And I get that. But I get brought back to a quote that I love. I love this quote. Everyone should know this one and write this down and remember it. Never attribute to malice what you can attribute to incompetence. I just think the officials are bad.
Yeah.
I don't think there's this malicious conspiracy. I just think they're bad. I just think they do a bad job sometimes. So I don't think there's a script in the sense that everything is predetermined and we're it's solely entertainment. The competition's not real. I don't think we've WWE-ified the NFL. I don't think that's the case.
Okay. Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with most of that. I don't think at all there is a like Austin said, a script of Arian Foster came out and was like, oh, there's a script. Who's going to get injured? How many yards are going to have that game?
Yeah.
Who's going to win? Are the Texans going to beat the Colts? All that kind of nonsense. I think there's a 0% chance of that, and I think it's absolute nonsense. You think like there's 32 teams. There's they're all owned by billionaires. What billionaire do you know is like, yeah, I'll go 3-12 this year. Like that's not going to happen. No team wants that. They want wins. They want to sell tickets. They want money. They want jersey sales. So the idea that teams are purposely losing or are told to lose or scripted to lose, I think is nonsense. I agree with the officials. I realized it recently more in college football, but they talk about it. They're like, oh well, this officiating crew from the Big 12 is a little more lenient on pass interference calls, or this officiating crew from here is tougher on holding calls. Like that's really what it comes down to. It seems black and white. The fouls are the fouls, call the fouls. But when you have 22 players on the field moving around, you're going to miss stuff. It just is. Now, some of the big pass interference plays, huge holding calls or calling holding when there isn't holding, stuff like that is, I think it's just the ref's point of view in that split second. And when they go to reach for that flag, it becomes a foul, right?
Yeah.
Rarely do they throw a flag and get together and call it back. But so I think it's officiating missing calls and having some of their personal kind of how they see the game flow and what they kind of allow and don't allow as part of it. I do agree with the marketing side of it, like Swift and Kelce. Let's promote this, show it off. They're getting another. Roger Goodell even said we love having Taylor Swift because all it does is bring a new fan base in. Well, new fan base means jersey sales. It means more expensive tickets. It means higher profit margins. It means, that's at the end of the day what it means. So, no, I don't think there's a script, and I love seeing people talk about a script, like the Ravens 49ers Super Bowl because of the logo, and it's purple and red, and it's because the last 2 Super Bowls out of 57 where, ironically those colors is all of a sudden a game plan. I love seeing that get absolutely crushed, especially by my own team.
Yeah.
And I love Larry Johnson. Like I said, the reason I became a Chiefs fan was him. He's hometown hero. He's a man.
Yep.
He's the man. Um, but some of his stuff, I follow him on his conspiracies, and I'm like, he posts stuff about football, and then it's like 90% of the time it's wrong, and I'm like, this it doesn't even make sense. Like you're way off. You were wrong, and you continue like promoting it, and it's kind of funny to me at this point. But I still think he's a good dude, and I still have his jersey. I have it in a frame or whatever. So
Yep.
yeah.
So, well, I think there's absolutely some shady stuff going on. Like Michael Francis talks about, hey, you owe us debt. Throw 3 interceptions or turn the ball over the first 3 times you get the ball. Stuff like that. That definitely goes on. I mean, probably still to this day, the mafia is still a thing. So I think that definitely happens with players for sure. Like,
Okay.
that,
Like quarterback shaving points kind of deal.
yeah, because there's no way to prove it, man. First of all, you're working with the mafia. They know how to keep everything under wraps. It's probably cash. The player's not going to say anything. So I think that happens. Not a lot, but I think that's definitely happens for sure. Or in some form or fashion, I think that happens. I mean, freaking Kayshawn Booty, he was betting on himself in games. That's insane. In college, he was betting on himself. With refs, I don't think so. I think because the NFL probably has a very, very tight eye on that because that dude in the NBA, he was doing that. I forget his name. And they said that if you watch that one documentary they did about him, that's pretty crazy because they kind of implied that the NBA was involved in it in a way. But I don't know, man. I think it's definitely possible that there's like shady stuff going on that benefits people trying to make money. But like you said, Anthony, there's billionaire owners. There's way too many moving parts. I mean, half of these athletes, with all due respect to their athleticism and everything, some of them are not very smart at all. So to keep them from speaking, you know what I mean, about it, if there was they're all paid actors or whatever. It's next to impossible to keep hidden. And like the whole Super Bowl logo that's interesting, but I don't know. I just don't think it's true. So
it's not that accurate.
Yeah,
they're just going off a rainbow. They're just picking colors from a rainbow, and it kind of fades through the rainbow colors. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also and so this will be a topic for something. I don't know where. I don't know. Maybe not even for this show. A different version of the show where we talk about logical fallacies and the ones that people use all the time. Maybe don't even realize it. That's like a huge recency bias thing too. Like, oh, the last 2 were like this, so therefore it must be a thing. Like, except the previous way more had nothing to do. So it's like, maybe we didn't quite think this all the way through.
They usually don't.
That's a fair point.
We just got a couple more topics here, guys. I didn't even ask about time. Are you guys strapped for time at all?
I have all day, man. I'm here.
No, we're good.
All right, cool. So I'm just time stamping all this. So we've got Taylor Swift. Obviously, is a huge story, but I want to address Jared's. So we call him Josh Allen's brother. His name is Jared Allen.
Okay.
He's actually got the same name as the Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But
defensive end.
So we had a guy comment on Rumble. He said, "Will Mahomes' ankle be a problem?" I said, "I doubt it. I don't think that's still an issue." That was like last year in the Super Bowl. Last I heard about that.
Yeah, exactly.
And he talk about a tough player, man. Like Mahomes he's just a hell of a football player. But Jared said Purdy is the one guy non-affiliated fans want to see succeed because everyone likes to see the underdog story fulfilled. Also, it has become clear to everyone that guys like Kelce and Mahomes, while extremely talented, are total prima donnas when calls don't go their way. That was another thing about the script, too, as I got to say, is this guy was the last pick in the draft. So if you're going to have a script, hey, the last pick in the draft is winning the Super Bowl or made the Super Bowl. Like, watch the draft, you know? Like, it's just a moneymaker pretty much. I love the draft, but I wouldn't call them prima donnas.
No.
Hall of Famers aren't prima donnas.
Soccer players are prima donnas.
Yeah, we love you, Jared, but I don't agree with that. Jared speaks his mind, though. That's why I like him.
That's good.
Both play calls and penalty calls. I think he's talking about the refs. Mahomes Sr. has about as much of a chance going to jail for DWI as Baldwin does going to jail for shooting the producer of that movie. We'll see. We'll see if he goes.
Yeah.
I hope. Yeah, we'll see. 2014 Penn State Ohio State game is a prime example of Big Ten clearly implying Ohio State was the team that had to win from the ref calls and blatant review procedure being broken. Yeah, so that was my guy Matt Zanalato was on that play. We've talked about him on this show. I knew him when he was in school. That was freaking our guy.
John O'Neill.
Yeah, John O'Neill, the
GOAT
scumbag in the world. So that didn't help either, Jared. But Anthony, Taylor Swift, I think this stuff is being completely overblown. I think they're just a happy couple. She's the biggest pop star in the world. She's probably going to be literally the most wealthy entertainer of all time. She's going to be a multi-billionaire, I think. She's going to be paid more than any entertainer ever, including athletes. Travis Kelce probably slid in her DM, whatever. It worked. Good for him. If he marries her, he's got a lot more money than he already does now. So I think it's overblown. I don't really care if they show her on the screen. I'd rather not see her, but I really, at the same time, really don't care. So what do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, so real quick for those who don't know. So Travis and Jason's podcast, New Heights.
Yeah.
Earlier this year when they first kind of released it, or towards the end of last year, the middle of last year, 2024, they did a podcast and they were talking about Taylor Swift. I don't remember why they were talking about her, but Travis basically just said on the podcast, like, Taylor, I love you. Like, give me your, something along her lines, something along those lines. Yeah. And then she apparently heard that and loved that. And like, I think she might have reached out to him or something. Okay. So that's generally, from my understanding, how it all worked out, how that all came together. I don't have a problem with Taylor Swift. She's a Hollywood celebrity, star, entertainer. It's just like everybody else. I try not to delve too much into these people and their lives and follow them around and, paparazzi them. It's cool that she's with Kelce. It'd be just as cool if she wasn't. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. She's going to be at the game. They're going to show her. Kelce's going to throw up a heart when he scores. She's going to be on the field with them when they win the Super Bowl, or if they don't. So it just is. It's been like that all season. Every time she's at a game, they show her. My suggestion is just who cares? It'd be no different if it was Brock Purdy married to, I don't know, Selena Gomez or some other pop star or some other famous person. They're going to utilize that to attract. Again, it's all about money. To attract fans, to attract tickets, to attract, marketing and visuals. So if they show her, cool. If they don't, cool. I'm there to watch football. I am, I get, showing her 55 times a game, but, they usually show them when the Chiefs score, they show them celebrating. Like, why is everyone just upset because the Chiefs are winning? That's really all it comes down to. I think they're more upset that the Chiefs are winning than they really are about some female being on screen.
Yeah. And I'll say this too, Christian McCaffrey, for an example, a lot of these football players have girlfriends, and they are extremely attractive. Taylor Swift is on the scale of some of these guys' girlfriends. She's really not up there. I'm a tall blonde guy, and I don't even really find her that attractive. So, she's a pop star. He's a Hall of Famer. He's incredible at what he does, Travis Kelce. So I think their mom is more of a story than Taylor Swift, to be honest with you. that lady has 2 Hall of Fame kids. That's insane. Do you know what the story with their dad? Is their dad not in the picture?
Yep. Yeah. So I actually met Donnie Kelce. We flew to Kansas City for the Chiefs Eagles game. Me and my girlfriend Donnie, because she's an Eagles fan. So we flew out there, went to Arrowhead, met Donnie Kelce. She's really sweet. Kind of like a typical kind of older mom kind of gal. She's got a lot of publicity on her face, and I don't think she loves it as much, but I think she's okay with it for parts of it. Dad's in the picture. I think they're separated. They were separated. I don't know when they were like 8 or 6 or 10 or something like that, younger. But yeah, Dad's on the picture. Dad's been on the podcast. He is more of I want to say Eagles, but I could be wrong. He supports both the Suns the same way she does. She just has more of a face to connects it to them than he does. But yeah,
they're from Michigan?
Kelce, Cleveland Heights area. Yeah, yep. I think he still lives there. I think he still lives in Cleveland. I think Donna might actually live in Philly now, or I don't know where she lives at, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So Austin, you kind of already gave your thoughts on it. You don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the money. I mean, the only thing I come at it from a little bit of a different perspective. I just come at it from like the human perspective, which is I think like while these people are ultra famous superstars, like maybe just let them enjoy their own private shit and like privately, maybe a little sometimes, not all the time, but like
most of the time. Yeah.
I mean, you know what I want to see sometimes too, and I'm sure we will see this as well. But like, instead of always cutting to that, why don't we cut to like some young Chiefs fans that are totally overcome with joy that their team scored or something like that? You know, like, because you know what, that has a lot of value too. Like that's awesome to see as well. You know, there's more to the fandom. There's more to the sport and all this kind of stuff than than Taylor Swift and frankly, and maybe I'm wrong, but frankly, I think both of them might even appreciate a slight shift in maybe a little bit more privacy than just being kind of exposed all the time, nonstop, forever. It seems. So that my take's a little different. It comes at it from a little different perspective, but I would assume that's a dangerous thing. That might be appreciated by all parties involved, potentially.
Oh yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah. Well, they did show a young Chiefs fan, and then
they showed half
blackface. Yeah,
they showed half.
Stupid media fucks.
They showed half of a young Chiefs fan.
Jared Allen said, "I'd laugh my ass off if Swift and Kelce marry and then divorce, and she has to pay him alimony, since she's light years wealthier than him. Doesn't prenup."
That's funny.
Well, the light years wealthier is fair. She just passed the $1 billion net worth mark. So she's you might say she's doing okay.
All right, guys.
Just a little bit.
Last topic here. We've got favorite Super Bowl and favorite Super Bowl commercial of all time. I'll start. So I've got the Steelers Cardinals in 2009. That's my favorite Super Bowl. That was an absolutely insane game. Had the final touchdown at the end, the toe tap touchdown by the great Santonio Holmes, Super Bowl MVP. Big Ben, phenomenal throw into triple coverage. That's got to be the greatest play in Super Bowl history. That's got to be one of the greatest plays in football history. And then second is probably the 100-yard interception return by James Harrison in the same game. I mean, which play is better? It's like that's kind of a debate there. I think the touchdown is at the end because it won the game. But talk about an insane game. That's my favorite game of all time. Super Bowl. Favorite commercial is the Pepsi Max commercial. Back when the Patriots lost to the Giants, the undefeated season. I'll try. You know what? I'll try and pull it up. But it's the one where everyone's like falling asleep. They're nodding their heads. It was the Pepsi Max that had the caffeine. I don't know if you guys remember that, but
I don't. There's so many freaking good commercials. It's hard to keep track of all the. Usually Doritos and Pepsi and Coke are like the best ones.
I have one. I have one in my mind. You guys might not remember it. It's from a while back, but once I say it, it'll probably jog your memory.
What, Anthony? You want to go?
I have to remember the commercials. I'm not sure yet, but I do have my two favorite Super Bowls. So, longtime Chiefs fan. We sucked forever. We never even made the playoffs. We finally got Andy Reid. We got Kelce. We get Mahomes. We get Tyreek Hill. We freaking lose to Brady in the Super Bowl. And the next year we come back. We beat the Niners. We come back from behind down 2010. And that was a defining moment. I was super freaking happy. Big Chiefs win, come from behind. The team set. Everything was kind of set in stone. And that game was the biggest my favorite Super Bowl of all time for sure, just because it does hit home. My second favorite Super Bowl is definitely the Eagles win over the Patriots when Nick Foles comes in at the end of the season, picks up a Carson Wentz playoff run, beats everybody up, comes in, beats Brady, Philly special. Everybody in the entire world wanted to see the Patriots lose, and so seeing that, being the party for that was a super awesome Super Bowl that I'll never forget for sure.
So I was just laughing at one of Jared's comments. All right, Anthony. So maybe you can take this one, Anthony. Jared said, best commercial is the Bud Light guy skydiving who won't jump. The pro throws Bud Light out the plane, and then the pilot jumps out for it with no parachute. I remember that one. I can't remember if the Clydesdales was a Super Bowl commercial. I think it was.
Yeah.
But that was after 9/11.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. That was really, yeah. Gives me goosebumps because that was really, yeah. Anthony, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Austin, what's your favorite Super Bowl commercial?
Super Bowls probably 17. Obviously, because the Eagles won. Probably has to be the favorite one. And then probably the second favorite one I would have to say would be that Giants Super Bowl win over that previously undefeated Patriots team. I think was probably another one. Yeah. I think everybody was rooting for the Giants outside of New England. I think because no one wanted the Patriots to win that.
And I think too, Austin, they were only the second 6 seed to win the Super Bowl behind the Steelers, and then the Packers did it against my team, the Steelers. But
yep.
I don't.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I don't think you guys can see it, but I'm playing the Pepsi Max commercial where it's like 144p.
What is love?
It's that What is Love one. You remember that?
Yeah.
They're all bobbing their head. You remember that, Anthony?
Yep.
I think I remember that one. Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just my favorite one.
Yeah.
It was so catchy.
It's a great movie. I mean, it's awesome. Yeah.
But Joe Buck was like nodding his head and.
I have two different ones that I remember. One was I think it was the 2008 Super Bowl. The one where it was like the talking baby E-Trade one where the baby's like racking up all these deals and he's hoarding all this money and all this stuff. I thought that one was funny. And then the other one that I liked was all the way back in 2000 Budweiser. That's the one where they're like all calling their friends up and all this stuff. They're doing the Weiser.
That's funny.
Yeah. No, those are always silly. I like the ones that make me laugh. That's why I like the it's not a Super Bowl commercial, but I like the was the State Farm ones with Mahomes
and Kelce
and Andy Reid. Yeah. They're just great, and I think Andy does a great job with those two. It's nice to see him kind of loosen up as he's progressed in his career and things. He's seemingly more open to just do some silly stuff and have some fun, which is great. Probably those two I would say are up there for me.
Yeah, I can't remember like a very specific commercial. The ones I know I enjoy are always the funny ones, right? Like it's always the funny ones. It makes you laugh. It's talking babies or horses on the phone, or it's, funny lines or whatever it is. And then I was going to bring up the State Farm ones where, Andy Reid's, drawing circles on the airplane when people are sleeping, or, he's eating a cheeseburger and he's like, let's just get another cheeseburger. Just those are always kind of my favorite. Because it brings I don't know, it brings like some reality to what is kind of funny and how these guys really are behind the scenes. So that's what I enjoy. The Mahomes and the Motto, love that commercial where they changed Kelce's name. That kind of stuff gets me. Yeah. So I'm hoping to see some of that in the Super Bowl. But the past couple of years, man, I don't know. It just maybe I don't recognize humor or something, but I just they haven't been as funny as they have in the past previous Super Bowls when I was growing up. They seemed like they were better. So hopefully we'll get some good big commercials this year.
Last year wasn't that good. One of the funniest ones was the Arms of the Angel lady, where she comes out of the tent and there's a wolf there. I forget what it was for, but that was fun. But here's the thing: that's why I watched the Super Bowl, and I now I watch it like not at a party because I want to watch the commercials. Because if you're at a party, everyone's talking.
People are talking shit.
Yeah. So it was, I forget what it was. It might have been E-Trade, but the E-Trade baby. I feel like every company every year comes up with like 3 or 4 of them. Tide was one year; they were all funny. Last year I think was Doritos. I don't know if anybody remembers the High Life one where it was 1 second, because it was that black dude that advertised High Life. He just comes out, he's like High Life, and that was it.
That was it.
Because they were talking about it was too expensive for them, so they just got a High Life, and then that was their commercials. 1 second. Yeah, and Jared actually brings up Jay Alford's final sack of Brady in the Giants Super Bowl. The Penn State guy, Jay Alford. I remember that final sack in that game. But all right, guys. If you guys have nothing else with that, final topic, score predictions. What do you got here?
You go first, Austin. What do you got?
I got a 24-21 Chiefs.
Okay. That's a good guess. I got 23-17 Chiefs. So very similar score there.
Okay. Since I picked the over, kind of have to go with the over, obviously. I think it's going to be like 28-21, 28-20.
Okay. So real close to that over. That's usually how it works out too.
Yeah. Last year was 53.5. I think the final score was what, 54, 55?
No, it was 7. It was 38-35. So 72.
72. Yeah. So
71. I can't count. 73, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my score prediction: 28-21, 28-20. I do think the Niners just, I don't know, man. I think they move the ball, and I think their defense is going to play well enough. So that's my prediction. But you guys have anything else? I mean, we're at a minute 21 here. We are live. I think everyone knows that, but
I want to talk to you guys. I don't know how you guys should be more on the bigger in the Penn State details and stuff, but we have the MVPs and the coach of the year and all that kind of stuff coming up tomorrow. Who do you guys think? Who do you think is coach of the year? Does Lamar Jackson deserve MVP of the year? Comeback player of the year? DeMar Hamlin, or an actual player that gets stats and points and does stuff. That's one thing I wanted to see what you guys' opinions were. Let's talk about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar, my opinion, great talent. I think he should be the MVP. Now, I don't know exactly who all is in the running. I do know a lot of the other stuff, like Rookie of the Year and stuff, but MVP, he definitely deserves it, man. He's a great talent, top 5 QB in the league. He's a incredible talent, man. He can just be shut down pretty easily, unfortunately. He's so fast, he's so athletic. I have a ton of respect for him. Rookie of the Year, Puka Nacua for sure. I like Jahmyr Gibbs, but Puka Nacua's the guy. Coach of the Year, Dan Campbell, absolutely. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I would like to see it to go to Joey Porter. I know he's a candidate, but I don't know who the Defensive Rookie of the Year would be for.
Defensive Rookie will probably go Will Anderson on the Texans.
Okay, cool.
For defensive. And then speaking of Puka Nacua, I like him a lot. I think he could get it, but I think I think they're going to give it to C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
The way that he, early draft pick, brought that 2 or 3 win team last year. Brand new coach, brand new quarterback. Led that team to the playoffs. Win the division. Got a big playoff win against the Browns, who are a good team this year. I think they're going to give it to C.J. Stroud for offensive rookie of the year. I think Dan Campbell deserves coach of the year.
Yeah.
What he did with the Lions,
Absolutely.
And their drought and building that team up and getting they should have won that freaking game against the Niners. I think you all wanted to see that.
Here's the thing too, man. If the Lions win, I think you guys are almost a lock to win, to be honest with you. As much as I would want the Lions to win.
Yeah, well, they beat us game 1. I mean, that would be a nice rematch. I mean, week 1 of the year, you're a Chiefs are off a Super Bowl win. You're like, this will be easy, and it wasn't. So, Detroit beat us game 1 of the year. Why not finish it off as last game of the year? That is an NFL script that if I was Roger Goodell and I was one of the board members, that's a script I would have wrote. But that's why it's not scripted. So, that would only make sense. Nobody wanted to see the Niners, and half the country didn't want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So why would you strip that out? But that's just my thoughts.
No, I think that's fair.
I'll say this
what are your
too,
thoughts?
man. I'll say this too. I think besides like this new Swifties, I think the football fans, this might be like a low viewed Super Bowl. Because I don't think there's a lot of people that didn't want these teams in. They wanted the Lions in. Stuff like that. Now, if the Lions made it, I think they'd have a ton more. But now overall, I think they'll have more viewers than ever. But football fans, I think they'll be a little lower. I don't know if they can like kind of add that into the demographics of the viewers and all the numbers and stuff. But I don't know, man. It's just for me, I don't really care who wins. You know what I mean? My team sucks. We're an absolute train wreck right now. But
Steelers or
I'm Steelers. Yeah. But,
well, you need TJ Watt and you need a quarterback. So
absolutely.
That's really you're literally that close. You need TJ Watt back because he's obviously he's going to be defensive player of the year, and you need a quarterback because Mason Rudolph or whoever you had playing this year should be benched and practice squatted. Last year. So
So you think he'll win defensive player of the year?
TJ Watt, yeah, I mean it's second year in a row he's led the league in sacks. That's one of the biggest stats for defensive players. The Cowboys cornerback Darby broke the interception record. But that's about all he's done.
Yeah.
I think L'Jarius Sneed deserves it. L'Jarius Sneed has led up 0 touchdowns all year.
Yeah.
He's the most efficient quarterback in the league, but sacks are important. And TJ Watt's an absolute beast, an absolute animal. He's a big leader for that team. And I don't know if there's really anybody else that's legitimately stat-wise, comparable to him this year. So I think TJ Watt gets Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think Lamar deserves the MVP. I like Lamar. He's a great talent, like you said, great quarterback.
So who is you think?
That's the thing I don't know, man. So I'm looking up all these stats, and Purdy's the most efficient quarterback. Dak Prescott has the most yards and most touchdowns, most touchdowns outside of Josh Allen. Josh Allen has the most touchdowns and most yards, but terrible interception at 19 interceptions or something on the year. So, they're all kind of like they all have their ups and downs. Lamar Jackson, barely threw for 3,000 yards as a quarterback. I don't think a quarterback gets it. I think Christian McCaffrey deserves it. He's the leader for the team. He wins them games. He breaks tackles and he gets them at that 13-3 record and first seed in the playoffs. I don't think as a quarterback, there's too many things between the main four where I think it's a quote unquote off year for the quarterbacks this year to get MVP. I think CMC deserves it.
Yeah.
That's where my vote would go. That's just me.
I agree with you.
We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm inclined to agree with that too. If you ask me, you have a vote for the MVP. Who are you picking? I would go with Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he just does too much. He does so many things really well. I mean, he's one of the most dynamic players probably ever. Like he's in that echelon of player. Lamar Jackson, great talent. Very good player. Seemingly the one thing that was able to stop him the most was his own offensive coordinator. Where they decided to throw the ball like 50 times or something, which was silly.
Number one rushing team, yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous game plan. That was just pathetic, frankly. As far as like defensive player of the year, I mean, you look at TJ Watt, of course, always going to be in that conversation because just of how great he is. Another guy, I hate that he's a Cowboy, but I love that he's a Penn Stater, and that's Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons, baby.
Always ridiculously disruptive. I believe he has 14 sacks. He had 14 sacks, I believe, on the season. Just a phenomenal player in general. Definitely, probably at minimum, the kind of the heart and soul of that defense, which was overall mostly good until the playoffs and the wheels fell off somehow, as they tend to do with the Cowboys. But wanted to give Micah a shout there. Offensive Rookie of the Year, yeah. I mean, I'm on board with CJ Stroud for that one. I mean, I think Puka would be a great option as well. But I mean, Mark and I have said multiple times on the past shows that CJ Stroud was the best quarterback in the draft.
Oh yeah,
and it wasn't even close.
No, not even close. Bryce, whatever his name is, sucks.
Yeah, so I really have no idea, what these front offices, what these scouting departments were really looking at when they were kind of grading these quarterbacks and things. To me, it was very abundantly clear, and I think we've been proven correct this season with the outcomes. So totally cool with that. I think defensive rookie of the year. I think you guys were probably correct with your selection. At the beginning of the year, you'd think maybe Jalen Carter had an opportunity as well. He's had a good year, but not to the level of defensive rookie of the year. I wouldn't say. I think it's kind of tailed off anyway. With the Eagles, as we're all well aware, they kind of went away down the stretch, and so that kind of was what it was, despite how things started. But overall, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not someone of the opinion that the MVP seemingly always has to be a quarterback. I kind of don't like that kind of thing. It's oddly reminiscent of kind of like the Heisman, where like 9 times out of 10 it ends up as being a quarterback. Like, I get it, but we understand that the quarterback is the most impactful position because they are the trigger man. They have the ball every play usually, and they're super vital. Like, as far as making the offense go and team success, like, yes, I understand that they're probably the most valuable. They have the most influence on the game. But there are, I think, individual Herculean efforts by other players, like what we saw from Christian McCaffrey this year, what we saw from, in the college ranks as well regarding the Heisman, that like they're just different. They're just different. Like 2002, Larry Johnson was a finalist for the Heisman. The man, and frankly, he probably should have won that. The man rushed for over 2,000 yards. Like,
yeah,
no one just does that. Like, and then you look at the winner of that award, and you look at the statistics, you compare them to now, it's like that guy had a very mediocre season, like in today's world. So, I think when individual Herculean efforts exist, I think it's absolutely deserving. So that's kind of why that was my rationale kind of behind that. So, I'm on board with CMC for MVP.
Do you think the NFL should create like, quarterback of the year and then do MVP and have a separate ranking for it or separate award for it?
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. You could keep the MVP and be at the MVP. It'll be a de facto quarterback award, but then you make some other award of the best player that's not a quarterback.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, as far as that goes,
it's hard to
MSP, most skillful player or something, or
whatever. Most impactful player, not a quarterback. Whatever. You pick a name that kind of makes sense or whatever. And then you kind of have that.
TJ Watt could have been MVP a couple times. That's how good they are.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you look at some guys, even defenders, where their presence alone dramatically alters what the offense wants to do and is even capable of doing well. That's gigantic. Like to not have a award methodology system in place to recognize that. And if, there's the defensive player of the year. Like I get it, but maybe we should have something a little more prestigious, even better than that. And you can name it whatever you want. What was one of the,
we're gonna call it the FreeDog Sports Award.
There you go. There you go. We got to have then every year we have the FreeDog Sports Show, Sports Award Show, where we give what we think the real awards should be to the most deserving folks for those categories. But
we can do that next year, Anthony.
There you go.
This year.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I forgot to mention Coach of the Year. I think it's Dan Campbell, obviously. It has to be. Anything else is kind of silly. I don't know. I don't really know anyone that could make a good argument for it to be anybody else. The turnaround,
unprecedented. But
yeah, I mean, I
that's on CJ Stroud though.
Yeah. It helps when the front office drafts a darn good quarterback. It makes life so much easier. Given the fact that Detroit has just been the dumpster fire for decades, like it's got to be Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
It has to be. I think DeMeco Ryans is a great shout. I love what he's doing down there. I think they're doing a really good job of building up the franchise, and the roster is looking pretty good. They have a good core group, especially with a young quarterback that's been productive. But I think there'll be an opportunity next year. I think this year is all about Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions.
I agree.
All right, guys. If that's everything you have for the Super Bowl, Anthony, it's good to have you on again. FreeDog Sports. Do you want to plug anything else, Anthony?
No, not really. I mean, I appreciate you having me on, man. This is big for me, so this is a good starting point for me to kind of do my podcast in the future. So I have my FreeDog pod coming up. I don't have a timeline on it yet, but coming soon. Keep an eye out for it. Follow me on social media, FreeDog_sports. I'll post on my Facebook as well. You'll see that. But just follow me on Instagram. I try to step in on as many sports as I can. Obviously football and racing are two sports that hit home most to me. Formula racing season, NASCAR season, IMSA racing. Try to step in on that. But NBA, hockey, soccer, baseball, tennis, volleyball, Penn State sports, try to just stay up to date and active on everything as much as I can. So follow me for more updates. Go Chiefs, and hopefully this Sunday is a good game. We all want to see a good game. We don't want to see a 40-10 game. There'll be ones that's boring. Yeah. So keep it close, keep it fun. That's what I'm hoping for. So go Chiefs.
All right, Anthony. Thanks, man. Austin, thanks, man. We'll see. Austin and I will see you again probably next week. So
yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I'll be back on the podcast soon.
We'll get something scheduled. Good, man.
All right. Later, guys. Thank you.
Yep.